Okay, it's leather belt day here at the ranch. Just got a box of samples from our leather goods factory in Portugal. Really excited to go through these. These are all prototypes, things that we're working on. And wait till I tell you a story about these three characters that we found in the middle of nowhere, basically, in Portugal. Really exceptional craftsmen at what they do. So back in the day when we started Atlantic Rancher, one of the things that we were most proud of was our leather goods program. And it all starts with a great vegetable tanned natural leather, double H weight, stuff that just you hold it in your hands and you know that this is the real deal. Not only in terms of the natural feel of the leather, but the way the craftsmen tanned the leathers. And I'm going to show you some things here that I think are really exceptional. And it just shows you, well, how when functionality and creativity come together, you really come up with some remarkable things. So the first one, I'll just point these because we've been making this leather here now for pretty much 25 years. This is what we call the Atlantic Rancher belt, and I've always liked this belt for the detail that we put into it. It always reminded me of a splice on a piece of rope on the boat. Always liked that a lot. Also love the thickness. Look at the thickness of this leather, and this thing that we call patina, which is the coloration, the highs and lows that the leather picks up after years and years of wear. Here's a little bit of sweat from the back of my pants. No big deal. Love every bit of those. And again, the patina that you see here in the splice area. Just look at the double H weight leather we have here. 100% brass buckle. So this was the Atlantic Rancher belt. This was another one that I particularly enjoyed and just thought was fantastic. And this was the Sailmaker's belt. And we named it that just because of the stitches that you see here on the ridge of the belt. These are the kinds of stitches, hand stitches, that a sailmaker might have down at the clew or the bight to finish things off. Sailmakers obviously use a lot of machines, but at the end of the day, when they wrap some leather around some of their block and some of their tackle, that's all hand stitched, done by hand. So these are two ideas that we brought with us to Portugal to get them started. And I'm going to pick out this one here, the Sailmaker's belt. And you can see how they've done a terrific job of replicating the original belt. Now, a couple things that I want them to look at is, number one, I don't like the color of the hand. This is braided nylon. I don't like the color of that. I like this more natural color, so I'm going to have them go back and take a look at that. I also like this darker color. Appreciate the idea that they have here, but definitely going to be looking at a dark color. The leather itself is really fantastic. It's, you can see here, it's a full grain leather. It's not split and then glued together, two pieces to make one. None of that. Then let's go ahead and take this off. Let's see what we got here. So this is a brushed nickel finish on 100% brass buckle. Really nice very similar to the original. I actually like it better than the original buckle. And then you can see here how the Atlantic Rancher logo is going to show up at the end. So imagine wearing it like that, and that's how the logo will show up. So they did a really, really nice job on this idea. I like how the logo is tucked back in as opposed to here on the end, which is where we had it before. So I think this one is pretty much ready to go. Some more work has to be done on the Rancher belt. Let's get this guy out of the way. So this is our original. They did a pretty good job, but I'm not 100% happy with this joint right here. I think what has to happen is that they have to do some leather skiving, meaning that they have to basically shave down this end where it meets the tag end right here. Shave that down so it's a little bit smoother. I don't want to see so much of an overlap as you have here, and I also want to see a bit thicker leather used on the top and bottom here. The leather itself is wonderful. It's very similar to the original belting leather that we used. So looking good. A couple of things need to be refined, and they all obviously need to make this in my size, not little girls' sizes. You know, here's kind of how the branding will look. You always put it on the third hole. It's how a belt should fit you. The belt should fit you nice and snug when you're on the third hole of the belt. Always remember that. You don't want to be wearing a belt that's like this on the last hole, right? Never, never. And at the same time, you don't want to be wearing one that's got, you know, a half a mile of string cheese hanging out there. So third hole is where you want your belts to fit snug. And here's how the logo kind of comes across, which is kind of subtle, but super nice. I'm gonna make that in both the chestnut color, which is this, and also in black. And again, it's minor things, but you know, I want them to be consistent when they have the color around the splice. This should have been made also natural color, and I don't know why they did it in white. But that's why we make prototypes. That's why we make samples, so that we can get them in our hands, look at them, play with them, and make sure that we tune them up before they go Hollywood. Now I'm going to show you one that I really, really like. And this is going to be called, dun, 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 this is going to be called the Dock Masters belt. So this one here is so simple, but so truly authentic as a belt. And this is all about the leather. Look at this. Look at the tannery. Look what the tannery's done with this full grain piece of leather. I mean, look at the texture that you have there, and the variances that you have in the surface. Obviously, this is a full grain, top grain piece of leather. There's no sanding, there's no finishing on top of this, but just a fantastic piece of leather that just has so much character, and you can just feel the strength in this leather. This leather is not going to stretch. It's not going to stretch by much, if at all. Yeah. So this is something new. This is something new in the collection. It's got a beefier buckle on it with a roller. It's more, yeah, it's a little huskier, a little more rugged. That's what I think we'll call this, the Dockmaster's belt. Because if you know anything about Dockmasters, they're not much for fussiness. They're pretty straightforward. A lot of them wouldn't say boo if they had a mouthful of it. I think this is the kind of belt they would enjoy, they would like. So that's it. That's what we have coming down the pike. This one here, I guess I'll just throw in a couple of...
I'm having trouble understanding you.
Really?